For those who don't know me here, I'm Steve Collett, and I'm running for Congress in California's 33rd Congressional District. I'm here to give my support to a true dream team. Two people that I've followed for a long time and gotten to know closely in the last couple of years. Governor Gary Johnson and Judge Jim Gray. I worked closely with Jim Gray on Regulate Marijuana Like Wine. And Jim was our leading proponent. He's written a number of books on the subject of drug prohibition. And whenever we had a question and we weren't quite sure about what we were going to do, we'd say, ask Gray. Jim Gray is a trusted person that really cares about people, that really cares about freedom. And when it turned out that he was selected as vice president, I just said, this is a dream team, and it really is.
Yeah.
I want to talk about a little bit more about their platform. The Johnson-Gray team really believe in individual liberties. They really are socially tolerant. They stepped out long before any of the other parties in favor of marriage equality and LGBT rights. They really believe in the rights of every individual to choose what they can do with their own body. And at the same time, they are fiscal conservatives. They really have plans that are going to cut back on our federal deficits. In fact, they're the only team that is going to end up in the final election that actually has a cut in mind on the deficits.
Yeah.
The greatest single threat to prosperity in this country, to people on fixed incomes, and to our children's future is the deficit spending. And they're the team that are going to turn around the deficits. They're the team that believes in individual liberties, that are willing to stand up and say the Patriot Act is not patriotic at all.
Yeah.
And with Johnson Gray, we are going to win.
What do I think of limited government? You know something? I believe in government. We must have government for various things. And which things should they be? It's not all that hard. The Founding Fathers told us, Article 1, Section 8. You know, that's what it says. We need a strong military. I was in the military. I know how important it is to have a good, strong military, to make sure that they're very well provided for, etc. But the government is simply out of control. Do I need to say that again? It is simply out of control. There will be numbers of people that do not want us to take office. A lot of people that work for the government, a lot of, say, the prison guards union, and honestly the teachers unions, at least as far as the mediocre and poor teachers, they will not be voting for us. The good teachers will be. But we can go back to various organizations in our government. And one of the first things that the Johnson-Gray administration will do is try to pass what we call sunset laws. Every, say, 5 years, each federal agency will be required to come to Congress individually and have an audit. What's the matter with an audit? The private sector does it all the time. The federal government should do the same. So should the states. And then we will look at various agencies and see, okay, for the last 5 years, what have you done? What were your plans? What have you done? How much have you spent? And what are the results? Now, some people might say, oh, this is terrible. And I say, nonsense. It will give the federal agencies an opportunity to shine. They can show the wonderful things that they've been doing, if that's the case. It may be. Let's find out together. But if they're not doing things appropriately, maybe they're doing 5 things. 2 of them we'll see are duplicative, they're not working, we'll shut those down and adjust your spending accordingly. The other 3, one is really great. Way to go, Mr. Spinak, or whoever is in charge. The other 2, let's modify them and cut them back and get some actual responses from these organizations. I believe personally that there are numbers of federal agencies simply will not pass the test. And we will, in effect, abolish them. Not a bad idea. If they don't work, abolish them. One of my personal ideas is the Bureau of Indian Affairs. We haven't thought about that so much. It goes back for 180 years or so. But The Native Americans I have spoken to, almost to a person, say they hate the Bureau of Indian Affairs. You know, I don't know where you're from. Steve, where's your lineage? What country are you from?
I'm a mutt, but but I've got English, Norwegian,
let's
French.
Go Norwegian. You know, how would you feel, Steve, if we had a Bureau of Norwegian Affairs? You know, oh, poor baby. We don't trust you to educate your children, to govern your property, to manage your affairs, so the government will do it for you. By the way, we've lost a few tens of billions of dollars we've misplaced. Sorry about that, mistakes happen. We should abolish the Bureau of Indian Affairs. And I believe the Department of Education will not stand scrutiny. In fact, one person at the convention said, I don't like child abuse, so I want to abolish the Department of Education. Not a bad idea. The Department of Energy, the Department of Commerce, there are probably so many more. Yes, more limited government. To the degree to which a government is at the most local level is able to address various circumstances, that's where the power should be. We stand for the repeal of the IRS. Now, that is not a particularly radical thing to do. The people in the IRS clearly, in fact, how many of you feel that the IRS income tax system is equitable, fair, and workable? You know, it just simply transparently is not. Let's go to a fair tax, a consumption tax. What would happen? Everybody here, all around the country, would get an immediate tax break. Why? Because all of the money they would save from not having to keep all of these records and pay for the preparation of your tax returns. Think of the administrative costs that we would save. Think of the fraud that we would save. Think of the equity that would increase. So we can and will do this. There are three groups basically very much opposed, and this is directly answering your question. Three groups, interest groups that are directly opposed to doing that. One is, yes, the H&R Blocks, tax accountants, that sort of thing. Another, clearly the people, lots of them that work for the IRS and that sort of thing. But the third group is the most powerful. Does anyone know what it is?
Congress.
The members of Congress. Think about it. If they were to lose the IRS, they would lose so much political power. They give special tax breaks to various contributors, expecting, of course, to get lots of contributions in exchange, and they're selling those tax breaks for their own political power. If we were to do away with the IRS, probably 60% of the lobbyists in Washington would be out of a job. They wouldn't be there to get those tax breaks. They'd actually do something constructive. All of these things we will do transparently when we're in Washington. But we're going to have to go over the heads of Congress to do it. We're going to have to do it publicly and then tell the people, the voters, hey, this is what we're doing, this is why it helps you, and anybody that votes against this is in the pockets of some form of special interest that do not have your interest at heart. We need you to get your members of Congress to support this measure, and I think you'll do it. I am as excited about this as anything that's really happened to me in my life, other than marrying my wife, Grace, wherever you are. There she is over in the shade, and the birth of my children, or in the case, the adoption of one. This is the most exciting thing that's ever happened to me. We are the right people. We have the right message. This is the right time. This is the right place. We are going to get that 15%. Yep. We are going to be a part of the presidential debates. And by the way, there's one vice presidential debate as well. I can't wait to debate Mr. Biden. I can't wait. Once we do that, all bets are off. We stand for you. We stand for the public interest, not the special interest. When people realize that, and they will send us to Washington because we're going to win. Thank you so much. It's up to you. Let's get this thing done. Thank you.
Good job.